talking to two tech house producers from New York City, Castano and RIFFA.
What's up, guys?
How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
All right. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, both of you guys produce tech house, right? Both of you DJ. In your bio, I read that as well as music producer, you are also a fine selector. What does it mean to be a fine selector?
So for me, there's a difference between just choosing any track, any track that could just fit in your set and that you could just throw into. So I call those fillers, tracks that are just fillers, DJs that are just not into. For me, it's more of a feeling, and I love to always be selective about my tracks and that have a lot of emotion, and that way I can express myself through my sets, through my music a little bit better.
So you're like a vibe selector.
Yeah, vibe selector. Very, very, very picky about my music, and I try to be with like that with just not only music, but anything. My clothes, my food. So,
the women. RIFFA, I read about you something I'd like you to comment on.
Okay.
So your bio mentioned that you're influenced by Satan.
By Satan?
Yes.
Oh, jokes.
In what way?
All jokes, honestly, like super lighthearted guy. Everything's kind of like fun to me. I like to keep it like really like high level, kind of energetic, funny. Just keep people kind of guessing. I think at one point I had something about chocolate milk in my bio.
Yeah,
so,
that too.
Yeah,
but that's not as controversial.
Yeah, no, honestly, I just thought a couple things just to get a little bit of a reaction. I think it's fun.
How long have you been in the music game, both of you?
For me, it started when I was 15, so it must be 13 years. 13 years I've been.
Wow, you look young.
Yeah, I started young. I started when I was, like I said, 15, and then
do the math.
slowly, I mean, I was going out. I was actually getting fake IDs to go into the clubs, and
that was New York City.
New York City,
Techno?
yes. Techno scene.
What about you, RIFFA?
Yeah, I mean, I've been invested in music since I can remember, but as far as like the actual electronic music scene, probably jumped in around like 2007-ish, so around like 11 years, but then actually started playing music right around 2010, where I started doing clubs and bars and things like that. So yeah, still been around a little bit, but it's got a few years on me.
Hey, it's all an experience, It's not a competition.
It's not a competition. That's why both of you are here talking.
Exactly.
It's not a competition. It's all about collabs and helping each other out.
Yeah.
100%.
So, how has the how has the scene changed, like from what it was like 10 years, 15 years ago, and it's now in terms of like techno scene, the underground scene?
Yeah, for me, so what I think has changed, and it's different levels where. I think that before, by going out as much as possible and meeting the right people, the right promoter, the right, always chasing that in order to get gigs. That for me, that has finished. Nowadays, with the technology that we have, with all the internet and everything else, it's so much easier to connect with others in that sense, and through your music,
RIFFA, how do you make right tracks?
How do I make tracks?
How do you make right tracks?
Right tracks.
Yeah. Because you're also an A&R, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're also involved in the OKNF Collective, right?
Yep.
As an A&R and label manager. So I'm interested to see, and also Carlos probably too, how do you scout for artists? What is the right track in the scene, etc. So
I think on that note, I think it's like really important to get some sort of an emotional response from whatever samples or whatever start that you have on a track, and just continue that feeling out through it. I think as far as the A&R goes, for me specifically, OKNF, we kind of started as like a bedroom producer collective that has now turned into kind of like a worldwide thing where we're reaching out to people that have that passion and maybe don't have as much recognition already, and we're digging for those guys that really deserve to be looked at, when maybe those big labels that you all heard of aren't necessarily picking every one of their tracks out or anything like that. So I want to make sure that those people that have that fire, you know, within them really get that chance to succeed. So that as an A&R is what I look for. I look for people that are still on the cusp of being big, but are just right underneath of that.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
You're not recycling,
No.
you know, always booking the same or signing the same.
Happens a lot these days. We're trying to stay on those people that, you know, aren't in the headlines all the time, because there's a lot of phenomenal producers out there, a lot of phenomenal DJs that get overlooked.
So you think people that make great music don't necessarily put as much effort into social media? So that's where there is a disconnect and they're not being discovered, or what is the reason why?
It can be that. I think sometimes people don't care about the other aspects, and all they care about are you know, their musical endeavors.
Yeah. So, I think everything it's aligns, you know, everything it bonds with each other, you know. The way you thrive, the way you know, you socialize, the way you make music, the way you know, everything has to be there. The way you look, the way you present yourself, it's very important, and people should actually look out for that too.
All that social media can come later, and all the networking can come later. If you have a phenomenal product to market, then absolutely. You know, you're in a good spot. So finding those people that have that, you can really mold them into something that turns out right.
So you signed recently to Objektivity label. So I want to know, like, how has this impacted your career?
Big time. I'm really very, very happy that I've progressed into this new this is a new chapter for me. It's you know, separating the more, I would say amateur, because I've been working trying to perfect my craft, but to be recognized by this artist that it's recognized for his music and for his, you know, fine selective, you know, sound. It's great, and to get the approval stamp from him and to hear him, it's Dennis Ferrer, Objektivity. It's very uplifting for me, and I think it's taking me to another level.
But yeah, so did you have like a moment in your career, RIFFA, where you felt the same way as Carlos did recently?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're in a little bit of a different part of the music scene, a little bit of a different circuit, but just this year, like, I really started putting a lot of effort into my music and really buckled down. And one of my inspirations, Kyle Watson, he's like phenomenal musician, phenomenal like sound designer. He like played my song second to last on every stop of his tour when he came to his first American tour. So all my friends around the country got to hear my music being played by one of my favorite producers. So like, when that happened, I like was like, get me in the studio right now. Like, I want to go make more. Like, let's go right now. So
in terms of production, guys, do you ever get like a creative block?
I think for me, I've hit the wall many times as a producer. I think it happens often, but for me, I just get a big iced coffee, I put it on my desk, I sit there, and I go sample digging. Like, I look for one new sound or one new set of sounds that inspires me out of a new pack or something. Like Splice has been awesome for that, because you can just search so easily. And I pick like a couple different sounds, and I go through those and then build off literally one kick drum or one like snare or something, and then from there I build off into like whatever I'm doing. Or if that's not working, I'll pull up Massive or Serum, and I'll go in and I'll just start sound designing something. I'll try to create a new sound, and I think individual pieces of sound really inspire me as a whole. So when I find something I really like, I think that's when I can kind of break out of that rut and kind of push through the wall that I've been at.
For me, when I started digging into, you know, these samples that we're talking about, and like folders or whatever and whatnot, I find that I could start making the track or whatever, and it sounds great, but then I think of like, you know, like the devil and the angel of the devil. It's like, you know, maybe you should dig a little deeper into your roots and, you know, go find something else. You know, not the obvious, not something that's easier, but make that extra effort to cut no corners. Just, you know, dig deeper into your roots and
pull off the vinyl and use a vinyl sample from some of your songs.
Okay, let's get into some stuff as, you know, actually kind of like an advice for people that are trying to get into music business right now, today. Somebody that has never DJ'd, never produced, and they're like, hey, I want to do this, I'm making my first track, I want to get my first gig. How do you go about that? What would you tell them, would be the best way of making it happen?
I would say you do need some sort of exposure and you need to get yourself out there. Go to the clubs, go to Output, go to, talk to people, get into it. But don't let yourself get caught into this, vicious circle and this, always wanting to be into a clique or, because at the end, the music will speak for yourself, and if you're, you don't need to.
I think stay away from what's popular, because what's popular is popular now. So if you copy that, you're going to be old already. I think you should dive into what really inspires you, what might be older or better, whatever you may think it is, and take from that and push forward and do something that's not being currently done. And I think that's really important, because you hear these big guys on every stage now playing the same type of stuff. And that's only going to be popular for the next 6, 7 months, 8 months, So if you're on the cutting edge of something new, that's going to be really important for your career moving forward. A lot of demos myself now that I'm doing weird stuff that I've never written before, just to try to stay relevant.
Anyways, so I've got a couple of quotes by both of you, and I'm going to read them out, and please, whoever said it, admit it, and then we'll discuss it, all right? So, quote number 1. Okay. After DJing for 6 years, I've become very skilled in putting on headphones quickly.
Hey, that's you.
How did you know it? Did you never said it?
No, I never said that.
That quote specifically, I'm laughing because I used to play in a lot of crazy bars when I was in college, and people always jumping up, trying to get in the booth, jumping on you, people messing with you. And I just remember my headphones would be here and they'd fall, and then I remember I'd just grab them and put them right back off of my head. And I was, that's where that came from. I've been really skilled in putting things on quickly,
All right, number 2. Respect is one of the greatest expressions of love.
Gotta be him, right?
I got you. All right. So you think you guys actually touch base on that? You feel like you get a lot of love from the industry, from the people?
Yes, absolutely. It's been a long time, and finally now you get the respect and the love that you were looking for. Before.
So wasn't there at the beginning?
No, because nobody is really taking you seriously. People are always just trying to. It's just how much they could squeeze out of you, and how much they could until you break. You know what I mean?
Okay. So quote number 3. Okay. Sorry. Why did I pick this one?
I feel like this is gonna be me.
I feel like it too. Okay. Day 234 without sex. I bought a Barbie just so I could remember what it feels like to take women's clothes off.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So that's a new thing on Twitter. It's day whatever without sex, and then you say something like, I ate a popsicle and choked on it on purpose, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little innuendo, a little funny.
No.
I think with Twitter, it's just kind of silly. I think, for instance, with that quote, it's just a silly thing. I think you see a lot of people posting for likes with the dumbest things you probably ever heard in your life.
Man.
But it's also cool. It's a great way to follow your favorite artists. They keep you up to date. I think a lot of artists actually use their Twitter personally, at least in the circuit I'm in. So you actually do get a little bit of, a window into their lives, whereas Instagram and Facebook are kind of phoned in.
And how does it work? In terms of if you want to promote your own events and stuff like that?
I think I kind of stay away from Twitter for that. Twitter is more so just to touch base with real people and kind of have those funny one-off conversations, or just you're replying to somebody oh my god, whatever. So you stay kind of with everybody. People see you commenting here and there. I think for pushing events and promo, I think your Instagram works, your Facebook's really works. You can invite people to events and things like that. But Twitter is more so lighthearted. which obviously like I try to stay that way. So just looking for a laugh, go on Twitter. If you're looking to be a bit more serious or promo your stuff, I think head to the other platforms. But yeah.
That's a good advice. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Okay, the last quote is, the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. All right. Who said it? Gandhi?
This guy right here. The vibe
selector. He's got
the vibe selector here.
I'm a little more, like I told you before, like spiritual. I believe in all this, spiritual things. Respect for me has always been the one. And I've always remembered this quote my friend told me, Francois Lebaron, he's from Montreal. And he always told me he told me once that the greatest thing that a man can have is his word. If you don't have your word, you don't have nothing.
What are your plans, guys? What are your goals, actually? Screw the plans. What are your goals?
Well, my goal, personally, I would like to, in the next 5 years, I'd like to be traveling a lot around the world, being able to support my family and myself and keep growing as a person, learning more and more and more. And to establish myself.
That's deep. Yeah, that's more about like the inner growth. I thought you were gonna say like, okay, let's knock it down. Okay, yeah. What are what are your goals, RIFFA?
I feel it.
I think I've like told a few different people this before when asked kind of this question. I think the touring aspect would be phenomenal. I think going and showing the world your music would be phenomenal. But at the end of the day, I think I just want to be involved on music. I want to make sure that when I'm 65 that I'm in a studio, at least like being part of the next wave. I want to be able to give my like personal opinion on what's happening, and I want to be able to give them help, like whoever's coming next. I think it's really important to stay up on what's happening, because like for me, music is life.
Yeah.
So that's what really interests me. It's the only thing that's like never left me or has never done me wrong. So I think it's really important for me to stay with it, because it's been so good to me my entire life. So to give back to the community of people like people did to me, I think is like hugely important. So touring aside, which would be phenomenal, I want to do that too. Like I want to be able to help down the line. I think it's really important to keep people honest and like keep people pushing for the next thing.
People in music have never done you wrong, or music itself?
Music itself.
All right.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
That's great that you said that.
Oh well, I think we can all connect over that here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at that note, we're gonna end this wonderful meeting. So thank you so much, guys, for
Thank you.
meeting
you.
us.
Yeah,
And
appreciate you guys.
pleasure. All the best.
Thank you, Rose.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun.